Hello, YouTube. Day 2 of deliberations, and I wanted to go live. I'm going to let this run live today. I expect we're going to have some type of a verdict today on the Rittenhouse trial in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We'll have to just wait and see. I do have things set up to where we can go to the live stream for the courts. They're in branch 3. So let me bring up branch 3. Let's see if they've gone live yet. They were starting at 10 a.m. Still nothing live. However, I did find all of the trial information, so we can go over the charges and talk a little bit about that while we're waiting for something to happen here. And hopefully I've got the audio and all that set up, so once they do go live, we'll be able to take a look at that. Let's go back and take a look at the actual court, the case files. So as most courts now, you have public access to a lot of information online. This is the Wisconsin Circuit Court access, Kenosha County, and branch ID number 3. That's how I found the live stream for this. So I'll be able to bring up the live once they go live, and hopefully they go live here shortly. Let me just see if anybody else is live. Nope, not yet. Still waiting. It usually takes them a couple of minutes to get going in the morning, but these are all of the charges. Thomas Spinger, district attorney. Bruce C. Schroeder is the judge. And we've got first-degree reckless homicide with a modifier to that, use of a dangerous weapon, first-degree reckless endangering safety, 2 counts. Also modifier, use of a dangerous weapon, first-degree intentional homicide, use of a dangerous weapon, attempted first-degree intentional homicide, use of a dangerous weapon, and possession of dangerous weapon, person under 18, and failed to comply with emergency management order. And then you can go down here and look at these a little more in depth. They just open it up and talk about it, and they list the statutes and the modifier to the statutes. But as you will see, possess a dangerous weapon by a person under 18, that was dismissed on the defendant's motion, and also failed to comply with emergency management order or state or local government, and that was also dismissed on the motion. So those 2 counts are out the door. So the jurors have been charged with deliberations to come up with a verdict. We're in day 2 of deliberations. They went out yesterday and they came up with no verdict. So today they will go back into deliberations and we'll see what goes on with that. Morning, Big Country, Unclean Hands, good morning. Like I said, once they go live, and hopefully they go live soon, let me just check again, because you know how the government is. They kind of drag their ass on everything. Yeah, it's just, right now it's just showing the Kenosha County Circuit Court branch number 3. This is the actual live stream straight from the court, and they're currently not streaming. So we're just standing by. They were supposed to start at 10 a.m. Their hour difference time from me. I'm on the East Coast, so I'm at 11:04 right now. I expect this live stream to start at any time. Yesterday, the jurors did ask good morning, Toby. Yep, first degree. It is a joke. It is a joke. There's no doubt. They rushed they rushed to charge this kid with all the charges that they hit him with, but there was no real investigation prior to them hitting him with the charges. And I'm hoping that they fire up here in a minute. And like I said, I'm going to pop out of here eventually once they go into deliberations, and I'm going to let this run and record. If it has to go all day, it goes all day. But I want to be able to catch them when they come back in with the verdict, because I do have some things to do. It's only 34 degrees out, so I'm not going out on a bike today. However, tomorrow, I'm definitely going out on the bike, and I'm going to set up all my camera gear, and I'm going to go out and ride around and maybe go visit some friends and just have a nice day riding, because it's supposed to be in the mid to upper 60s. Yeah. Two of the jurors are in fear of their lives, their family lives, and the community's safety. Oh, I know. And you've got all the protesters outside the courthouse, and you can only assume that it's going to go bad. But I don't know. Everybody, all the rioting that happened last year, that was more racially motivated over the black man that was shot while he was grabbing a knife out of his car to come at the officers with it. And of course, the rioting started, burning, looting. I don't know how you can consider that a protest. However, some of the news media said, oh, the protesters. Well, it's a little bit more than protesting when you're burning shit down and creating all of that. National Guard's on scene. They're all standing by. They had some shots of that from yesterday. Let me go back into my main scene here. They had some shots of that. Yeah, the Humvees and stuff all lined up, and the soldiers out there. So I don't know how much civil unrest is going to happen this time. The threats is a big thing, but hopefully it doesn't sway anything. 72. I wish it was 72 here. Froze my nuts off this morning. I had to go out to my dad's shop and fill up his pellet stove so he can keep things warm out there. And I humped about 4 bags of pellets in and filled up the hopper, and it was freaking cold out. But we don't have any of that 4-letter word on the ground, that white stuff. We don't have any of that yet. Yeah, I don't get the 7 shots either. You shoot to stop the threat. I don't second guess. And I'm not going to second guess that officer's thought process of why he discharged his firearm 7 times. But guy had a pretty good sized knife, and he was coming up out of the floorboard of the car with it. That's when he was in the doorway, and that's when he was shot. So why people have to go out and riot, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I wasn't there either, so I can't, and I try not to Monday morning quarterback other officers and what they perceived as a threat, and how much of a threat it was. I'm going to keep jumping back because I want to see if the court pops back in or not. Yeah, we're still waiting. Let me see if I can refresh that and see if anything happens. It's got a little refresh button up there at the top. Court is not currently streaming. Please check back later. Well, we're going to stay right there and wait and see what happens. And just keep an eye on it, because they should be going live. Usually within 5 to 10 minutes, they're live of their start time. I'm not sure why this is taking so long, but I definitely wanted to start my live stream beforehand. Yeah, I think the jury's going to come in with a verdict today. The jury did ask for clarification on the self-defense statute yesterday. So I think they're kind of leaning more toward that. But if there's a couple of jurors that are in fear of their own personal safety, you know, and I don't even think manslaughter was one of the lesser charges that was able to be considered. I think they only went down as low as second degree. Yeah, and I agree with you. 7 shots seems like a little bit over the top. I mean, I can see 2 to 3 as you back up, but I just don't know if he continued to come around on the officer or what. Yeah, this is definitely political, and I blame the media for 99% of it. The fake media that goes on here in the U.S. in the last 4 or 5 years, it's just ridiculous. And I mean, you everything that all the big ones, ABC, NBC, CNN, the Communist News Network, as I call them, they've been wrong on everything, and they won't eat crow. They won't come back and correct anything. They just let it go. Once it's proven that they're wrong, it's just absolutely crazy. It's utterly crazy. Anybody wants to join the stream, let me know. I'll throw the link up. I'm just, like I said, I'm just waiting on the court to pop in. Their website, their court website, they really don't give you a lot of information. There's no document links or anything like that to where you can get any of the information. It's just got, here's a bunch of stuff with some amounts after it, and have no idea what other papers, receipt, no idea what any of that stuff is. Oh, they do have some additional text. Jury trial minutes, day 12. They really don't give you a lot of information, do they? Wow. You guys probably can't see that really well on the screen. It's kind of small, but they do list some of the day minutes. Let me go back and see if they got any more. 11:15 transcript, jury trial portion consisting of cross-examination of Detective Ben Interaminian. I probably butchered his name, but that's okay. More additional text. Anyway, it's really cool to just go in and look for Kenosha County Court or Wisconsin Circuit Courts. Go to Kenosha County. And this is branch ID number 3, Judge Schroeder. And you can look all this stuff up. It's actually pretty interesting. And still nothing from the court. And nobody else has got any lives going on yet. I don't know what's going on at the courthouse. I don't know if maybe there's some civil unrest going on outside the courthouse. Maybe that could be why they haven't started. All right, let me try to keep up with you guys. What are you talking about? The media is deplorable. Yes, it is. I get most of my news online. My local TV, I'll watch that for local news, just to see what's going on around here. Yeah, I'd love to completely cut off from it, but Guns and Gadgets, that's a pretty good site. And yeah, government websites for bill progress and stuff like that's always good. Yeah, PBS live streams good as well. And I think everybody's pretty much getting the stream straight off of the court website. As a matter of fact, let me show you guys the court website. So if anybody wants to get it, helps if I'm on that page. So the Wisconsin court system, they have live stream courts, and you just pretty much have to know they got Supreme Court and then circuit courts. And we're in Circuit Court, Kenosha County, and we're in branch number 3. And I've already got it up, but still nothing. And if we close that and we go back to the court and bring it back up, yeah, they still haven't started yet. So I may have started my live stream too early. I've got to sit here and yak, and I'm not much of a yacker. Hey, on another note, new suspension for the bike will be in on the 23rd. They checked with Olin's to find out if it's going to be here, and it will be here. Dropping just under $1,400 for a set of shocks, but you might as well go big. These are the Olin HD 044 remote reservoir. They have compression adjustment, rebound adjustment, and also your preload to the spring. They're also adjustable length. There's a 1/2-inch adjustment on that. So I'm going to be going up to Rob's. Hopefully we don't have any snow. I'm going to ride the bike up. We'll put the shocks on. I'll do a video on that. He is also, we were calling it Energica. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce the name. It is an electric sport bike, and he is the New England dealer for them. I'm going to be doing some videos on some aftermarket parts that he's had made for it, and we'll do some videos on that, as well as I might in the spring take one of those bikes for a little ride and give you my impression on an electric sport bike. And these are pretty high-end bikes. They've got pretty cool suspension on them, and they're set up really nice looking electric sport bike. Yeah, this whole trial has really got me scratching my head, and I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I wish they'd freaking start, because we're right back to standing by. Court's currently not streaming. If anybody finds out that they have some civil unrest going on outside the courthouse and that's why they haven't started, see what you can find, because that might be happening. I don't know. Usually the court's been pretty prompt on their times, and I was really surprised that he was going to go at 10 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. like he did for Monday or Tuesday. What the hell day is it? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Day 2 of deliberations. Toby, how's the weather down your way? Hey, Hiram, how are you? Thanks for jumping in. Sorry it's not very informative. We're still waiting on the court to go live. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. There's no telling why they haven't started. And I've got nothing to do today, so I'm not working. Just hanging out. Well, I do have stuff to do. I've got some courses I have to take online. But I've got until June to finish them. I've got about 120 hours of stuff I got to do online. Then I've got 3 weeks of in-person, and then I'll be all done with that. I wouldn't be surprised if they got some kind of a threat. Would not surprise me. Let's do a refresh. Still nothing. Morning, Stovepipe. What's going on, brother? Hope you're having a good day. I had to go out and stoke up the stove out in my dad's shop. Had to fill up the old hopper for the pellet stove. Man, he's almost through. He's just over a half ton of pellets so far this year. '66. That's my kind of weather. High of 68. You suck, dude. Bluegrass HD, a bottle signing going on there today at 4 p.m. What type of bottle signing might they be doing? "28 minutes ago, the defense filed for a mistrial." Do they have a live going on, Toby? Because nobody else does. Everybody, this is Law and Crime. I usually bring them up, but nobody else has got a live going. They must have somebody on. They must have somebody there following this. It'd be pretty awesome. Defense filed for mistrial with prejudice. And that probably has to do with some of the threats to the jurors, I would think. Hey, big country. Pallets are Greta friendly to the environment. Greta, yeah. She got her 15 minutes of fame. Not frame. Single barrel bottles. America's outlaw whiskey. Jesse James Dupree. Bottle signing. That sounds good. You'll have to tote one of them bottles around with you, and if we ever meet up, we'll have to do a shot. She flies on electric jets. I'd love to see that. Maybe run her through an electric jet. That'd be good for the environment. It'd be fertilizer. Oh, that's horrible to say. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to keep this up today or not, because it looks like the courthouse is not going to do anything. Keep refreshing, and we're not getting anything live, and they're almost 24 minutes after their start time. And if I jump over to Law and Crime, they got nothing. So I don't guess we're going to see anything. Man, a mistrial with prejudice. I don't think the judge is going to go with that. I really don't. I don't think the judge is too worried about death threats. However, having two of the jurors, maybe he can excuse those two jurors and use two of the backup jurors if they're that concerned. I don't know. BLM is protesting outside the court. Why? What has this got to do with Black Lives Matter? That's my question. What has this got to do with Black Lives Matter when everybody entirely involved in this case was white? I don't know. This is nothing more than an excuse for them to come out, start protesting, turn it into a riot, do some looting, get their Christmas gifts, and go home. They're all coming in from everywhere else where, they made a big deal about him driving from his home 21 miles away over in Illinois, but his dad lives in Kenosha. They made a big deal about him crossing state lines, but yet all of these protesters come in from all over the U.S. and elsewhere. I don't know. I just don't know. All right, I'm blabbing on. And what I'm going to do is if anybody is in a position to where they want to jump on the stream with me, have a link. If anybody wants to jump in here and BS for a little while, you're more than welcome to. There's a link to the stream. Don't have to have a camera. You can just do audio. Yeah, I wonder where they're getting their documents from. Now, there is a paid service. You can go in and sign up on the Wisconsin court system and get a paid system and pay for that stuff. So that must be what they're doing. But I mean, they're way more in tune to doing this than I am. This is just a trial that kind of caught my fancy, and I've been very intrigued with the whole thing. Hey, there's Toby. Come on in, Toby.
Yeah, I'm working right now at the same time, so I'll be doing both. But yeah, I mean, from what I'm just like,
all right, I got to do something here because I can't hear you. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I had my audio set up so I could get the website audio over to the thing. For some reason, I screwed it up and I haven't fixed it yet.
Oh, no worries. No, I'm working at the same time, so.
But, yeah, I kind of figured you were at work, so.
No, the Guns and Gadgets shared on his IG page about now 30 something minutes ago. It's like 7 pictures, basically 7 pages of the filing of the mistrial. And I mean, that's all he just put on there. This is when they did it, but the timestamp on it was the 15th of November. So from what he was saying yesterday, when he was sitting there waiting to see if they were going to come out into procedures, was about the 2 jurors that were saying that they were afraid for their lives. They'd been, they're concerned about the media and people releasing names and all that kind of stuff. And he said that I think he mentioned something about they'd called it the U.S. Marshals had been I may have the wrong terminology here, but if I remember correctly, he said they have been deactivated from Oregon and brought in to theirs. So maybe that I don't know what that means. I'm assuming bringing marshals in from an outside state is probably a better, less biased situation. Rules, people don't seem to understand that these days, but that's the extent of what I know. And I've been like you've been doing here. I've been refreshing pages like crazy to just see what's going on, any updates, anything new, and nothing. So
Yeah, it's almost like they're in total blackout mode right now.
yeah, I mean, I'd say they got to be careful with this. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying operate in fear, but you know,
Well, they may have just completely shut down all media coverage of it,
yeah,
and just turned off the live trial coverage, just due to the fact that it is such a high profile, and there is the possibility of some type of violence that's going to happen, regardless of what the outcome of it is.
yeah,
So I don't know.
yeah. I would agree with that. Like I say, I mean, honestly, anybody in that courtroom, I would even say, I don't, professionals, prosecutors, defense attorneys, they're there to do a job. Whether they do, present it to the jury to well enough for the jury to make the decision in their favor, who knows? But that's their business. That's their responsibility. That's their job. It doesn't when the guys go home at night to go to sleep, they should be able to do that without prejudice, without any concern or fear of reprisal or reciprocity from anybody. So whether we agree with them or not,
Yeah.
so
Oh, exactly. And this, like I said, and we all know this. This thing is such a political shit show.
yeah,
Um, I mean, everything. I mean, all the way to the top, all the way to the White House. I mean, the president called him a white supremacist.
yeah,
I mean, really, with absolutely no background information whatsoever. The media had him convicted, hung, and buried.
well, as far as the president, you could give him a full bio readout on the guy's situation, and he would forget it in 5 minutes. So
Yeah, I'm not going down the political aisle.
no, I'm not either. I'm not either. I'm just
I refuse to do that. I just,
but you're right. That's anybody. I mean, it's the mainstream media is completely anti-2A, progressive, that kind of thing. So the
Yep.
minute something like this happens, I don't care what race it is, who it is, they're gonna go for whatever they think the agenda is going to stir the most ratings for them. They've gone from being, the Walter Cronkite news journalists that report facts and let the public decide, to we need ratings.
Yeah, JN, sorry about that. It would be live, but they're not live. They're for some reason the court's not broadcasting. Let me go back and take another quick check here just to see. Yeah, there is no live anywhere. And I am actually on the court site. And I've got the court site up in the background with their live feed, and they are not streaming. So nobody's got a live feed on the trial, and we've gotten pretty much nothing from the court. So we're not sure what's going on. They were supposed to be in session at 10 a.m. this morning for day 2 of deliberations, and we've got absolutely nothing. Hey, Justin, what's going on, brother? Thanks for jumping in. So I don't know. This is, and it figures that's just by luck. The day I decide, I'm going to do a live stream and I'm just going to let it run all day until we get a verdict, and then this happens. It turns to shit. But I am getting out on the bike tomorrow. I'm going to have some of your 60+ degree weather tomorrow.
Yeah, I found out about, hold on. Sorry. Yeah, there's like Guns and Gadgets was, okay, no, he was just sharing another video he's got. That dude stays busy on Second Amendment.
Yeah, I watch them quite a bit.
Yeah, he is already sharing stuff about other states, like the passage of the Ohio open carrier constitutional, whatever it was, something.
Well, I live in the probably the shittiest state when it comes to gun laws and licensing and all of that. Um, and Massachusetts has always had some of the toughest gun laws. They used to have that mandatory 1 year if you get grabbed with a handgun without a license, but
Yeah.
that never happens. It absolutely never happens. Yeah, I hear you, Justin.
I've been through there, but never lived there.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. But I'm here. I'm just keeping an eye out on my folks for now, and of course my folks are in their mid 80s, and they're like Energizer bunnies. They both play golf all summer long, almost every day. My dad still runs a little sign shop out behind the house, so I live next door to them, and I'm keeping track of them and make sure they're doing good. Yeah, Connecticut's pretty tough too.
Here, I thought Jersey was the hardest, or maybe even Illinois was the toughest, but
yeah, it's pretty nuts. So I'm looking forward to Laconia this year. Hopefully, I think I'm going to get a campground up there and see what's going on.
That sounds like fun. Yeah.
We got Combat Mechanic jumping in. We'll go ahead and add him to the stream. Hey, good morning, sir. How are you today?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are you?
Doing well.
Doing well yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Sitting here with a cup of coffee, watching the stream. I was going down the YouTubes and I saw the Master Sergeant's on, so here I am.
There you go.
I was going to try and bring day 2 live deliberations, but nobody's streaming, so we're wondering what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I still believe it's going to be a slam dunk for the defense, but you're right. He might get a little slap for discharging a gun in city limits, or it's going to be something like that, I think.
Well, they haven't even filed any charges like that.
Yeah, they can't because they haven't even. It's what the prosecutor was like saying you can't illegal. You're even, at least as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're saying how the prosecutor was like, and you are illegally possessing that gun anyway, right? Because you're 17 without a permit. But I don't think any charges have been filed along those lines that I know of.
They were dismissed.
Yeah, weapons charges were dismissed. That's right. So
because the weapon met the requirements that he was able to lawfully carry that rifle.
Yeah.
They have a barrel length and overall length, and that was dismissed. And then the bullshit local curfew was dismissed.
Yeah, which that's again, those parts show the prosecutor grasping at straws, but.
Yeah.
So the only part that I got, I'm sure you all have done this before. I'm sitting here brewing my coffee over there earlier, probably my second cup, but regardless, brewing my coffee, and I'm kind of, as you go through this, you're kind of talking yourself through what you have seen by video evidence or whatever. I think the second shooting event is a slam dunk, hands down. I don't think there's any argument there at all. I don't think there's any chance, but. The first one though, they kept on. Maybe you all saw better than me, but the first one they kept on talking how he gently set down the fire extinguisher and went and kept running and changed it and raised his gun. I couldn't see any of that from the video. At least the viewing audience live stream couldn't see it that I could tell. And every time he said that, even when they brought the judge over to sit in front of the screen during the arguments or whatever. I was just like, where are you seeing this? I just don't see that.
But I found it unusual too, where they brought in the thermal stuff from the FBI I don't know if that was a drone they were using.
Yeah, they said it was. It was an
Yeah,
FBI
they were using
drone,
a drone with thermal. I have a lot of
which
experience with that. I've
which
got
is
one I use for
unsettling
work.
in another aspect by itself. An FBI drone floating around the city, on Overwatch. That alone is kind of disturbing.
Yeah, and I they were saying that the first guy was like 4 feet away. It sure didn't look that way to me.
Yeah, I agree.
When he slowed down because he was going in between those cars, that guy closed in on him tight. And he also had powder burns on his hand. Now they were trying to hold a hand like this or something, how he got shot through two of the
Yeah.
fingers. If he had backhanded the barrel, that would account for him getting shot in
Yep.
those two fingers.
Yep.
And why there would only be powder on those two fingers is because the other two were clenched under the barrel.
Right.
So
the prosecution is hoping that the jurors don't have that kind of knowledge of gunplay or gun usage and powder residue and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, the stuff is there in the paperwork for the forensics. But yeah, I kind of, I kind of think the same thing. I don't know that he's going to get off entirely free. I think maybe he should. On the principle of self-defense, yes, I think he should. But from the to the letter of what they were talking about during the court proceedings, will they get him on a lesser charge? I would not be surprised. Because people just think are they get him on a lesser. Yeah, because today, if you look outside, the protesters or whomever, anybody looking at it from an emotional point of view, and I've had conversations with people about this, it's like you got to remember the verbiage. That's why they take so long, is because they are arguing on specific wordings of testimony, of evidence, of all that stuff. And it as sad as it is, it does come down to actual words. What are they being specifically charged with? What does evidence specifically show? And to the letter of the law, all that BS. And I'm no lawyer. I'm just saying that like I said, I would not be surprised if a lesser charge on the first shooting situation, reckless shooting or something. I don't know all the exact charges, but I do like what the judge did with his instructions to them of, if they find, not guilty due to self-defense, they can't go any further. They stop it right there.
Yep.
It's
Commenter, auditor, welcome. Sergeant E5. Yeah, I agree. They should have been sequestered. That would have taken care of any of these threats, because if they were sequestered, it would have just made it easier. And
forgive me, I'm hazy. Is that when they're like in secret or something, or
they're in lockdown?
Yeah.
So they take them to a hotel. They're all put up in a hotel. They have no access to the outside.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
And
especially on a murder charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially something like this. Yeah. It's like anything these days with like the Ahmaud Arbery or the Kyle Rittenhouse, or I don't even know if that back, what was it, 10 years ago with the whole Trayvon Martin thing. I mean, you should know any of that kind of crap should be sequestered. It should be, you're trying to protect. Anyway, getting off on a rant. I'm sorry.
Did y'all know, as Kate said yesterday, when the prosecution was basically saying whenever Kyle decided to pick up a gun, he lost his right to self-defense.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah,
that was.
But no. So what he's saying was, they are arguing, and that goes back to that video evidence we were just talking about. They're arguing in that first scene that Rittenhouse raised his weapon to the first person, whoever over in that first scene, that he raised his weapon in provocation. That's where they're trying to claim in that video evidence. See, he raised his weapon. They did it like 4 times. I personally couldn't see crap. I don't think the video evidence was conclusive enough to say that he did anything like that. But that's what they're trying to say, is that he raised his weapon in provocation. And from that point on, they're saying once, and that's law. They're trying to use the letter of the law for that the moment he raises it, if the jury decides that yes, he provoked, then self-defense is out the window from that point. But yeah, I agree with you. It was a joke. They were reaching at stuff, I think. Sorry to hog your microphone there, Master Arnold.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Sergeant E5 just posted. I'm kind of laughing about that. Rosenbaum died as he lived, trying to touch a minor without consent.
Damn.
That's
Well, weren't they all three like the people, the skateboard dude,
well,
Rosenbaum, or who? These are all convicted, or they all had past discrepancies or problems with their
yeah,
record, right?
but the one guy that was saying he's a paramedic, he lost his paramedic license in 2017.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't catch that part.
And my wife found that last night. She's saying, you know that guy that's the paramedic? I said, yeah. She said, yeah, he hasn't been a paramedic since 2017. He lost his license.
Well,
Plus, he just got bagged on an OUI while carrying a weapon. And you didn't hear nothing about that.
Nope.
Man, that was savage there, Sergeant E5. That was that was a savage comment.
He said Tucker Carlson said it. Well, that's I think I would have been rolling too. Man.
So what do y'all guys see any kind of civil suit happening after this? Either which way it goes?
I don't think this will be the end of it. I mean, well, now I don't know.
It would be hard to prove. So what would have to happen for a civil suit is it would go into, they would try and find wrongful death, basically. But if he gets not guilty on these, it would be very hard for a civil case to go forward. Not saying it can't. I've seen him go forward before, but 99.9% of the time it never goes anywhere.
Yeah, I was just thinking about back when the OJ trial happened, and he got found not guilty, but I think they're Coleman's parents. I think that was her name.
Nicole, yeah. Nicole, I can't remember her last name. Simpson.
Yeah, I think they won, but of course they're not going to see a dime of it because
No. I think Kyle's got a really good civil case for defamation.
Oh, absolutely.
With numerous news outlets as well as the White House.
I mean, yeah, oh yeah.
You know, just
I mean,
the fact that they said he was a white supremacist and all of that shit. Yeah. And so I think he's got the basis for a really good civil case for him. So.
Well, then of course they'll claim that, I don't know about the rest of the city or the media, but you know the White House is going to claim, what's the word? The whole exempt, or you can't sue the president or whatever, you know, however that goes. I don't know.
Yep, this is a good point too. It does lay groundwork for an appeal should Rittenhouse be convicted. Prosecutor misconduct and the jury under duress. That there's a really good basis for an appeal on that.
I think the defense has already made it very clear that they and even the judge kind of alluded to it, that he was careful in his wordings that about which way, depending upon how things turn out. He even told the prosecutor, says, you are giving them grounds for, and then he kind of stopped shy of that and said, well, I'll just let it play out as it is. But that's what he was going to say.
Oh yeah. The prosecution had so many miscues on what they were doing. I mean, and you saw it too, because he cleared the jury out and admonished the prosecution team. I can't say as though I've never seen that, but it's not very often.
No,
I've sat in the courtroom quite a bit, and some of the stuff you hear in the courtroom, you just sit there and you go, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
You can't believe that people say some of the shit they say. Man, I saw this one guy. He was I can't even remember why I was there, listening to all the traffic bullshit. And he's in there for an OUI, and his lawyer, he was the best witness for the prosecution. I was like, this guy, he keeps asking him. He says, well, if he was in the lane of travel, he wouldn't have struck the other vehicle. And that's what the officer kept saying. And he says, well, what do you mean? Well, he wasn't in the travel lane. He was off the side of the road when he struck the vehicle. And he kept bringing it up. And I'm like, dude, you're not helping yourself here. Needless to say, he got convicted. But we just had something hit the news last night that all breathalyzer tests are suspended in Massachusetts.
What?
Yep.
For what grounds, or what's the?
It has to do with software in the intoxilizers or breathalyzers that they're using, not being accurate or something along those lines.
Did they use the same Dominion vote? Did they use the same Dominion software?
I don't know.
I'm
must
kidding.
have. Well, I'm not. They must have. But yeah, if anybody in the last couple of months that got banged with an OUI, and it's based on blood alcohol, out the door it goes, because they're going to dismiss all of the intoxilizer results. So
yeah, all those machines have to be constantly calibrated, and they got to go into the shop and make sure they're good to go. So I'm not saying I'm not for anybody drinking and driving. I'm just saying that
let's see what's going on in the chat.
Just some shots fired.
Kind of been kicked in the face, in the head with a skateboard, gun drawn. Yeah.
You know what they should do is the defense should bring in one of those punching mannequins that they have at the gym, and have some young strong guy get that exact same skateboard and swing it at that mannequin's head in front of the jury. And if you don't think that's dead, if you don't think that's not deadly force, come on.
Well, even the kick in the head. Yeah. I mean, he was justified with the kick. That's assault and battery with a deadly weapon. A shod foot is considered a deadly weapon no matter where you are. I guess you could take your shoe off and barefoot kick him, you'd be all set. But if you're wearing that boot or shoe, I don't even care if it's a flip-flop. It's still what they consider a shod foot.
When you say shod, you mean what's that?
A shoe on. It's just the terminology they use in court.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just.
And somebody mentioned that the prosecution kind of went on about, well, every now and then you got to take a beating. Yeah, not this kid. I'm too freaking old to take a beating. I fight to win, and I don't fight fair.
Well, that's exactly. Yeah, who was that telling? Oh, yeah. So I was chatting with somebody else, another biker. We had some really good dialogue because they shared the whole LeBron James thing. He was saying about the fake tears and all that stuff, and I don't like blasting people on mainstream for stuff like that. If I disagree too much with them on a certain thing, I'll hit it on a private message and say, hey, look, here's some stuff to go on with to consider. And we just had some good back and forth dialogue, but it was the whole thing about that. It's like, I mean, the prosecution just, one of the big things that they kept talking about was people are like, they're not catching it. It's emotion. Everybody's letting the emotion drive into the situation. They're like, how in the heck are they letting him walk or considering that when the dude obviously, quote unquote, obviously carried a weapon illegally across state lines and killed 2 people and shot somebody else? It's like, that's not accurate per se. At least it's not what's in the charges. And DAs are going to go with whatever they think the strongest will stick. So I just don't think they, like you said, I don't think they have that whole, what was it he said at one point? He kept on iterating. He kept on saying it for the jury is what it was. He kept on, when Kyle was on the stand himself, he kept on saying, you meant to kill them. You meant to kill them, to kill them, to kill them. I mean, he kept just beating that home.
That kid never expected that to go the way it went.
No.
Not in the. Let's face it. Don't bring a skateboard to a gunfight.
True.
All
He
right.
said it right. Kyle responded appropriately, in my opinion.
For a 17-year-old kid, I think he did, and his testimony.
I eliminated the threat when I did it until the threat no longer existed to me. That is the right way to say it. That is an escalation of force.
Yeah, his testimony was amazing as well. I mean, I know some very seasoned veteran police officers that can't give that good of a testimony.
Hell, the one that they called up there couldn't give a very good one.
No, the detectives that came up, they sucked.
The one that was in the police car, the one that said he was taught that he was pepper spraying them, that guy was all over that guy was. It's almost like he was like, I need to check with my lieutenant to see if I can respond.
Exactly. And it's a shame that there's so much scrutiny on, what goes on. They're afraid to do their job anymore because everybody's got a camera. But by just telling the kid, hey, you need to go home or I'm going to pepper spray you, when the kid's standing there saying, I just shot somebody, what the frick is he thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he tries to go to the police station. It's all barricaded off. You can't go in here. Well, I just shot somebody. Well, go home.
He actually said you were disturbed because of some broken glass. Like, Mr. DA, if you are a prosecutor, if you are trying to paint yourself as an asshole, you just did it.
I'm just checking on the chat here to see what we got going on. Kaylee, welcome. Thanks for your information. Attorneys arrived at the courthouse because jurors have a question. All right. And they're still not live streaming, so they didn't even live stream this morning on their arrival and when they were charged to go back into deliberations. So kind of disappointed in that. I started my live stream just to do that. And
well, PBS came on, I don't know, it was probably 10 minutes before you went live. They're a reporter, I guess, or whatever. Some lady came on and was explaining. She didn't go into the details. She just said that once they come, we are here, we're going to follow this and stay with this. So stay with us. She said, as soon as they do the verdict and all that kind of stuff, we're going to come back with some analysis and blah, 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 all that stuff. So, but I've got PBS sitting here on the sideline next to your tab. And, that's all they said. As soon as they get word on it, they're going to go live with it.
Well, we've been cranking along here for about an hour. And I don't see anything popping up. Nobody else has got any live. And the court itself, nada. I'm gonna post this link in the chat. And just remember, it's going to be under Kenosha County branch number 3. If you want to try and bring up their court stuff, but I'll post that. I keep, you know what, there, Mr. Old Spice. You're killing me with that in the background. So when I finally do meet you in person, I'm going to be whiffing your neck trying to find out if you got Old Spice on or not.
Nope, don't ever wear it. I grew up with wearing it. My dad used to wear it. My grandpa used to wear it, but they stopped giving it to him one time when he was laid up in bed, bedridden, and they gave it to him for his birthday, put it on his skin, and it started turning red. His skin got so sensitive to things that it was reacting to that. So we had to like immediately like wash it off his neck and stuff. But anyway, yeah, no, when those commercials first came out, I was cracking up laughing at the innovativeness of them and how the style of them and stuff. And I just like the whistle. So,
Hey, we got something.
Soap on a rope.
Do we view videos in private or in corporate? So my nightmare is.
Do you have a feed, Bastard?
The court is not streaming. However,
Any suggestions?
Law and Crime has got something up. Did PBS get anything, Toby?
no, not yet. They're still showing the Rittenhouse mugshot. I mean, I can hear him talking on yours.
Yeah, I'm going to try to turn it up so you can hear it a little bit.
So if they give us any numbers that they want to see, we should be able to pull them up for them.
Your Honor, I agree with the first part of that. I don't know what exhibits the jurors wish to see. We, the defense, has a real problem with them seeing the drone footage. And what has come out, we have a motion pending before the court for mistrial based upon disclosure of evidence. And if they want to see that, that's just tainting this jury more. And I asked the court to consider the drone footage was turned over by an anonymous person who we supposedly now know who it is, Mr. Beeman, on the first Friday of the jury. We were provided a copy of that from Mr. Krause that was neither in the length or definition clarity that the state had. We did not get the full download that they received until Saturday of Sunday of last weekend after all the evidence was closed. And that's a real problem. Not to mention that since doing our research, the specific amped owner's manual says that when using AI to enhance photographs or videos, it is for investigative purposes only. It is not forensically to be used in a court of law and should be labeled as such.
Doesn't say. You're wagging your head. No, is that true?
The evidence in this trial does not say that. And I'm concerned because
I don't want to get. Let's not get ahead of ourselves because right now the jury wants to address this. We'll certainly have to talk about it. I have not. It was interesting. I, along with
You talking about my notification thing? His thing going off all throughout the court proceedings.
Widespread, and you gentlemen are as aware of it as I am.
That might have been something on the stream I got up.
You know what?
Oh.
I think I read it, which is the paper that I used to deliver for a few years when I was a preteen in the Milwaukee Sentinel, which are now one paper. That they talked to some professors at the two law schools in the state and said it was odd, I think was the word, that I didn't rule on the motion to dismiss.
Guns and Gadgets has it live streamed now too, and they've got a live video feed.
To dismiss. I just got it yesterday, and I really think.
Yeah, I'm getting nothing from the actual court site.
I should let the state respond.
Now he's on Law and Crime, I think.
That it's odd for the judge to sit on a motion to dismiss. I have no idea. I think that, and the recommended course, I think, for judges, at least that was what I was educated to believe, was that motions to dismiss should be kept under advisement unless they're crystal clear and have had a chance for both parties to respond which we didn't have in the heat of the discussion on the day the original oral motion was made. I never heard your side of it in terms of argument. So I'm somewhat astounded, but of course it gets out into the
I just posted a
general
link.
public. And as I spoke about it on the first day of trial, the result of the trial should be open to public scrutiny, and people should have confidence in the outcome of the trial. I think we can all agree on that, and it's just a shame that irresponsible statements are being made. And as long as I'm talking about it, I guess I'm going to talk about that too. The business about people not being identified as victims. How would you like to be put on trial for a crime? And the judge introduced the case to the jury by introducing you as the defendant and the person who is accusing you as the victim. And then throughout the trial, have all the references to the complaining witness as being the victim. Is it so difficult to just use the term complaining witness instead of prejudging what the jury is here to determine as to whether there's a victim and whether there was a crime committed? So I don't know what I'll leave that comment at that. And then finally, I'm now reading about how bizarre and unusual it was to have the defendant pick the numbers out of the tumbler yesterday. And I would admit that I don't know that there's a large number of courts that do that, maybe not any. I do it because of an incident that I had in a case I tried in Racine. Oh, I'm going to say I estimated 20 years ago it could have been less than that. It could have been more. But it was a big case. I think it was a murder case, but I'm not sure. And there was a black defendant, and there were 13 jurors, one of whom was black. And when the clerk, the government official, drew the name out of the tumbler, it was a black, the only black. There was nothing wrong with it. It was all okay. But what do they talk about? Optics nowadays? Is that the word for things? That was a bad optic, I thought. I think people feel better when they have control. So ever since that case, I have, ever since that case, I've had an almost universal policy of having the defendant do the picks. It had nothing to do with anybody's race or anything like that. And I never had a complaint about it before. In fact, I haven't had a complaint about it here. But some people seem to be dissatisfied with that, and people who want to undermine the result of the trial. So that's today's statement on that subject.
All of that, Your Honor, is why I do my best to avoid reading anything anybody's writing on their mistakes, because we know what happens in here.
All right.
They don't.
Well, and I don't always have that luxury though, because I've got a.
Sure.
But anyway, and some of the things that have been said too. I guess I'll comment on that too. These are five very reputable, competent attorneys that I've practiced with for years, and I think it's shameful some of the things that are being done to these people. And I when I talked about problems with the media when this trial started, we're there in part, not fully, but in part because of grossly irresponsible handling of what comes out of this trial. I will tell you this. I'm going to think long and hard about live television of a trial again next time. I don't know. I've always been a firm believer in it because I think the people should be able to see what's going on. But when I see what's being done, it's really quite frightening. Frightening, that's the right word for it. But back to the subject at hand. And I've discussed my disdain for the rule. I'm not going to box you guys into accepting what I think is the better way. And I sense from the statements that I've made that I think that in some respects you may even agree with me that it would be better if the jury could. We're going to now have the jury will come down here to the courtroom and everybody will be shooed out of here as they should be. And I'm not even sure. We're going to have to review the procedure that's been outlined. But they get to watch it once. Is that what the rule is?
I think they should be allowed to view what they want to view as often as they want to view it.
Subject to my other objection, I don't have a problem with them viewing it multiple times at a certain point. I don't think that's, 3 or 4 times, I don't have a problem to sit here and just keep playing it. I don't think that's the right way either. Then it's giving more emphasis to one piece of evidence.
Well, but sometimes there's one piece of evidence which is absolutely critical. And I talked about the Tsarnaev case. I talked about the attempted murder case that I had in here. And I don't know how we're going to police this anyway. And the other thing is when it is being policed and someone's watching them talk about it, well, can they freely talk? Which is what we want. We want freedom of expression between the jurors. And so as they watch these videos, and to me, if they want to watch it 100 times, that's them. If it were a bench trial, and I've said this before, if this were a bench trial, and I put in my decision that I thought that Exhibit 486 was critically important, but I didn't want to overemphasize concentrating on it. So I left with questions in my mind about it and decided I better not look at it anymore. I should get reversed. That's an outrageous thing. But that's what we're forcing the jury to do because of the disrespect that the courts have had in this country for the juries. These are intelligent people. They get treated like there was a time when the educated people in the town were the physician and the lawyer and maybe the school teacher and the preacher, and the rest of the people were farmers. So obviously they weren't as smart as those educated people, right? Wrong. That's never been the belief of the founders of our country. It's never been true. And I think these people are as competent as the educated people, and many of them are educated, to make these decisions. And that's where the founders of our country put the power, not with us. So I think it's insulting to the jury to tell them that they have to have these restrictions on their viewing, but we're gonna sit down with the books. We're gonna find out what the exact procedure is, and we'll await what they want to do. But for now, I will answer: do we view the videos in private or in the courtroom? And the answer will be in the courtroom. You need to know the exact exhibit number or video or photo. Well, there's 2 options. One is we can you can have all of them. Anyone gasping? You can have all of them, whatever you want. You can pick and choose, and you can, or you can describe generally what you want.
Yeah, I think the exact exhibit number would be helpful, but if they can give us just a title or a description, we can also figure it out. I agree.
All right, so what I'm going to write, you've got copies, so what I'm going to write on here is in courtroom. I better write pen. General description. General description of what you would like. Is that all right?
Yes.
The only thing I would ask about with regard to your answer, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure I heard you correctly about if we bring the jury back. You mentioned something about kicking everyone else out of the courtroom. and I don't know what you're planning to do, but if you are planning on doing that, it might be helpful to tell the jury that, so they understand that they would be viewing it without the public around. I don't know what you're planning on.
That's a good point. Except that I don't know exactly who are going to be the kickies. Certainly, all the media and the officers, other than the media and the officers, and the question is whether the lawyers and the defendant. I don't know what the answer is. We'll have to check that. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be in here. I got the impression, and it's been a long time since I've read one of these cases. I got the impression it was actually supposed to be the bailiff, but I'm not even sure about that. So we'll have to look at that. So I guess I understand it was a good suggestion that you've made, but I'm afraid I don't know enough of an answer right now. So I'm going to send this out now.
Thank you.
All right, we can copy in the upstairs.
Your Honor, would be excused to do some research on what you're talking about.
Please do.
Okay.
Please do. Okay, well, it sounds like, sounds like they just finished with that. So at least we caught some of it. I'm not sure why it wasn't streaming on the court. Kind of unusual.
I'm not surprised.
That was kind of unusual. Let me post the link here in case Sergeant E5 wants to join in.
Here, I'll unmute the Guns and Gadgets side because I think he's trying to talk too if you want to hear this.
Sure, go ahead.
Who, me?
Can y'all hear that?
Hello?
No.
Hello?
Yep, you're still here.
Okay. Yeah, I got kind of confused. What direction was the judge going there? What
Well,
was
the judge seems to think that they should be able to watch the videos as many times as they want. That's what I got from that. However, the defense was saying, they should be allowed to watch it 3 or 4 times, but he's afraid that they're going to keep watching it and it's going to give more weight to that one portion of the evidence over the rest of the evidence. So valid considerations on both sides.
Right, but in the beginning, he was talking about how he wanted a mistrial, the defense, because of the drone footage wasn't revealed in the discovery.
No, I think he was requesting the mistrial. Actually, I'm not sure why. I didn't catch why.
I don't know if it was a mistrial piece, but he did file an objection to that because of I know what you're talking about. If I heard it correctly, it was filed objection to that evidence because of when it was introduced in relation to suspenses of submitting evidence for the sequence or timeline of the court proceedings. I think if I heard it, and I'm just using my own words here, but I think that's what it was, is it came in late and it was, I think he said, he didn't say questionable at best, but they've been arguing that drone footage for most of the time of the court because it's been very it's been very, I guess I could say inconclusive maybe. And this is again from a YouTube live stream viewer perspective. You can't really see crap on it. What the prosecutors keep trying to point out.
Well, evidently they're going to they're clearing the courtroom. The live is down, and it seems like Law and Crime, they were the only ones that had it.
Yeah, that's where Guns and Gadgets was watching from as well.
Yeah, seems like Law and Crime has got the inside scoop on that one because the court definitely is not broadcasting. I don't know if, and the judge said that he's kind of on the fence now about having public view. The only good thing about letting that run was I managed to go take a leak and get a cup of coffee.
It
Nice.
almost sounded like he was in support of the live stream stuff to a point. You know, if I take the reverse of that, you know, because he's all about being transparent. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to do it at the risk of the safety of the jurors or the court staff, being the lawyers, the prosecutors, the judge, the whoever. Because I like what he said for his reasoning was why he has the defendant pull the names. That's a great reason. It's like, here, we're going to erase any kind of reason or thought of possible, you know.
I agree. I mean, let's face it, the defendant has a right. I'm not sure how to word this, but I mean, by having the defendant do it, that takes all question out as to whether or not anybody frigged around with it.
Right, exactly.
And it should be up to the defendant to draw those numbers. I mean, it's a jury of his peers. So why would not he be allowed to pull those numbers of the people that would be
right
set in backup? And that's basically what they are.
Yeah. And if nothing else, even if it's a case that wasn't like this, if no matter what, to me, that's one more way it reduces or removes one other piece for a defense or a defense to appeal. You know, hey, prosecutor drew the names. That could have been a rigged setup. We don't know. We're appealing it.
I think if you want to get technical about it, there should be a chain of custody of those names and that little device they use to stir it up all the way down the line. There should be a two-man concept because, you know, who knows how many different times somebody's name was written on different pieces of paper in there.
Well, it went by number. They were like number chips, and it looked like a bingo thing. So they spun it around, and the kid reached in and pulled the numbers out. So they kept that. They used the KISS principle on that. Keep it simple, stupid. And I don't know. This whole trial now is really got me scratching my head as to why the actual court is not broadcasting this, but somebody else is. And that's going to be a media feed from some media that's been allowed into the courthouse.
Yeah.
Because the live stream from the actual courthouse is dead. There's nothing there. And it has been all morning.
Yeah.
Whereas yesterday when I found it, it was there.
Hey, the link that you sent us with the courts, which of those links did you say is the one that is for the
Judge Schroeder is district, whatever it is, 3. Let me look at it again. Branch number 3 is where Judge Schroeder is, and that's the actual courthouse.
Barron County Branch 3. Okay.
Yeah, and it's Kenosha County. So you would go to Circuit Court Hearings, Kenosha County, Branch number 3, and that is Judge Schroeder. But it appears that they're not going to broadcast anything live, or they're going to stream anything. And it's probably going to be a while before we see anything else, even from the other sites. Oh,
yeah, good. Because they still got to bring the jurors in, bring that. Because he was even talking about, you know, you want to have whatever footage they're trying to ask for. They got to bring all that. And that, I tell you, for being current times, I don't know about you, but if you watching that stuff, to me, that their audio video setup, that stuff was juvenile amateur at best.
yeah, it was.
I mean,
hey, what's going on there, Forgello. Hopefully I'm not killing your freaking name. Can you hear us? I can see you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
How you doing, Master Sergeant?
We're doing great. How about yourself? I see you're out driving around.
I'm not that guy. I'm Sergeant E5, remember?
Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. You know why
That's
I said
that
that?
message.
Yeah, I said that because his name's there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm working. I just have to run over here and go pick some steel up.
You don't ever stop working, do you?
Pretty much 7 days a week, go from can to can.
There we go.
Keeps me out of trouble. I don't end up like Rittenhouse.
Welcome to the stream. It's been a while.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, it's something I said in chat earlier, is that a lot of folks don't realize that whole chain of events happened in less than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's not a lot of time for thought or diplomacy.
No.
And he did what he thought he had to do.
Well,
I
the prosecutor did their. Hey, you know what? I've been saying this, if you remove the emotion out of it, right? As many times as I wanted to punch that prosecutor in the face, because for being hypocritical, he wasn't being hypocritical for his job. He was doing a good job in his way of trying to paint Rittenhouse the way he needed to paint him. Because if you noticed, he would tell in his closing argument, he said numerous times how the guys that were either killed or the other guy, Rosenbaum, I guess that's the guy that got his forearm blown off or his bicep blown off, whichever.
No, that was Grosskreutz.
That's right. I don't know. They're all idiots. But the point is that he kept on alluding to how they all had seconds to react to Rittenhouse, seconds to do this, seconds to do this. You know, they had to protect themselves in a moment where they were threatened. I'm like, but yet you just told Rittenhouse when he was on the stand that he decided that in those moments. It's like, dude, he had the same seconds that they did, the microseconds.
And you know, another thing to augment what you just said right there, where Rittenhouse was thinking about the things he had to do, like pulling dumpsters out of the street and going to react to a vehicle on fire. Sure, he's walking around with an AR across his chest or across his back. But when they came at him, other than the threats that they had posted to him a couple of times that evening, the people that aggressed him had all evening since their first encounter to think about and plan what they were going to do. And if people don't think they didn't plan and didn't think about what they was going to do, that's why they came at him. I'm a firm believer that those four attackers, Rittenhouse was on their mind the whole evening before they jumped on him.
Well, they saw a young kid they thought probably had no experience and wasn't going to be able to back up his stance. And I kind of believe that.
And then when the prosecution tried to discredit him by saying, well, why didn't you stay in your place? You know, when these people were telling you belong over there, not out in the street pulling like a dumpster out. He was giving these rioters and these protesters total credibility in trying to take away Rittenhouse's when one didn't trump the other. It didn't make sense. You know, they were putting him on trial because just the fact that he had a scary gun with him and he as a kid walked around, well, he provoked. In other words, they were validating feelings versus facts.
Absolutely. Kind of funny how they were
siding with the protesters.
Kind of funny to me how they kept on pulling up the differences between the whole hollow point versus full metal jacket and what they thought their differences were. I'm like, y'all just don't understand the reason. You know, the whole point of it has nothing to do with this trial, but it's like, I mean, even when the kid said he had no clue what kind of rounds he had in his magazine, it's like the military used the full metal jacket because when they shoot, it goes through one soldier and will hopefully hit another soldier. That's the intent, is to remove the enemy's will to fight, you know, by reducing their numbers. That's one of those methods.
And it's the most popular ammunition that you're available to buy.
Right, exactly.
Well, and not that it brings up anything, but even 223s, the M16, when they were developing that, they discovered that round real quick, like that the one big plus for it, and Master Sergeant, I'm sure you've heard this before, is that when that M16, that round goes in, it has a tendency to ricochet off bones, and it might not come out in a straight line from where it entered.
Yep.
It might come out and make a right angle. When it comes out at a right angle, and it's bounced off all kinds of bones and internal organs before it comes out.
Yeah, the 223. A lot of people don't realize that's very close to a 22 caliber.
Yes, a lot more power behind it.
Yeah, it's just got a lot more weight to it in comparison to like a 22 long rifle, and it's got a lot more oomph behind it. It's not a very big bullet. However, they do tumble. They do cause a lot of damage. And as you said, it doesn't take much to get one to take a different direction. So, and that's
can go in, bounce off a rib, and come out the top of their head.
Yeah, there's no telling.
That's extreme, but it's been known to do that.
I've seen bullets do things that you would not think a bullet would do out night with tracer rounds, where you can actually see them bounce around and go every which way but loose.
Oh yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. All right, Combat Medic, are you saying the magic bullet theory for JFK is true? I'm kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak on that one, but
yeah, we could go down a rabbit hole, spend all day and night on that one.
Yeah.
I'm just saying bullets will do things that you don't think they could do.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No, I say those kind of comments to skirt off the surface just for the humor of it.
Krabby makes a point. If they were so scared of that gun, why did they continue to chase and attack him?
Yeah.
Exactly. They saw a young kid with a long gun, and they figured he's going to be easy. He's not going to back up anything.
Well, it boils down to mob mentality too, y'all. If they had been one-on-one and nobody else around, those encounters probably never would have happened. But they were emboldened by the mob mentality and the people around them, and they chose wrong. This is a perfect example of people making poor life choices.
Exactly.
It's funny. I told you I was talking with a chat with somebody else back and forth who kind of is on the other side of this. And I said, if you really want to get down to the bottom line of what this all is about, which it can't be on trial, of course, but this bottom line is it falls back on the home. This is poor parenting. I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying, they've already alluded to he's 17 years old. I guess, mom lived in Illinois, dad lived in Wisconsin. I mean, right there shows you it's a broken home. And if he said, I'm telling you right now, I've got a 16-year-old. That young man is not going to be going around floating like the way this kid described at 17, firing guns without my knowing about it or being present for it. If he doesn't know how to, damn sure if he doesn't know how to do it, he ain't doing it without me being around.
Well, it's like I said earlier, I think he's not guilty on anything except for the fact, he may have made a poor choice by showing up over there, but that's not against the law.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that was the other thing. What was he doing there? Well, he's free to do that.
Right.
It's a free country.
Right. You can't even prosecute him on traveling state lines with weapon in hand. You can't prosecute on any of that. The only part you can start on, which is what they're doing, is for which they have no grounds, but is from the moment that the first shot is fired and all the context surrounding that. They're trying to paint the pictures. But aside, they're grasping. We know this.
For Yellow, I'm not sure if the handgun that Krotzkoit had was legal or not. I'm not sure. I guess it was a Glock 27.
Glock 40.
No,
it was a Model 27 40 caliber.
Oh, no, everything I follow says it was a Glock 40.
Well, it don't matter. The defense attorney pointed out that his carry conceal weapon, he was carrying it concealed because he was carrying it behind his back under his shirt, and they said
in his waistband.
In his waistband. And the defense attorney pointed out his concealed carry license was expired, so he was illegally carrying that weapon.
Well, my question is, and I don't guess is he a felon?
No.
No.
He's not a felon. Okay. So he hasn't committed any crime that would void that concealed carry.
No. And the first guy, the guy that fired the shot, the third party that fired the shot, and I can't remember his name. It was him and his wife. There were a couple of blowhards that were out there instigating shit, and he fired a round off. But I believe he is a convicted felon.
Yeah,
And
wasn't
we
that
have-
Rosenbaum?
No,
Now that's
the
the shot that went off when Rosenbaum was chasing him, right?
Yeah, and I don't remember their name, but
Yeah.
they didn't bring them in to testify. One, because the guy was pending
that's the
charges.
Kaminsky,
yes.
something. Yeah.
Yep. So
They
I
got into
believe
a big
he is a
heated debate.
convicted felon.
That got heated also during the closing arguments because they brought up the Kaminskys testifying because I guess Miss Kaminsky is incarcerated, I guess, and he's got DA
Pending
prosecution charges pending trials as well, and it's like, hey, they were saying that was a problem too because you're the one that has control of them and you can't.
Credibility.
Right.
But you could just see by the audio and the videos that have been shown that they were just a couple of instigators, and they were kind of egging Rosenbaum on. So
Truth.
yep, no doubt. Guys, it's been over an hour and a half. Unfortunately, we don't have anything else. I've got some stuff to do this afternoon, so I'm not going to leave the stream up. I want to thank each and every one of you. Sergeant E5, Toby, Combat Mechanic. Thank you guys for jumping in on the stream. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Great talking to everybody. I think it was a really good live stream. We got a lot of participation, and maybe I'll come back this afternoon if a verdict comes out and we can talk about the verdict, because I'm going to be very interested to see what the outcome of this trial is.
Absolutely.
And as of right now, the court's got nothing. Nobody else has got nothing. And it's lunchtime. I'm going to go out and get some lunch.
If anybody's interested, Guns and Gadgets is still live right now. I guess he's going over some stuff. I don't know what, though, because I've got it muted.
I'm probably going to go over there and watch them for a little bit and have some lunch. And we'll see how this turns out this afternoon. Hey, as always, guys, if you like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Hit the little bell ding-a-lingy. You can give me a thumbs down, too. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. I don't mind. It don't matter.
You actually have two. Holy crap.
I must have some of Ben's trolls coming on here.
You have a good one.
All right, everybody, take care. Have a good day.
Good game.